Never trust bankers. Hey, gang, this is Mike with MrNoFluff.com, and today I'm going to talk about 9 ways that a stinky banker is going to rob you in 2019 economic collapse. Now, because of legal reasons, I just want to say this is my opinion, this is not financial advice, and this is not a recommendation. That said, in my opinion, I know that bankers are going to rob the middle class, the working class in America in this upcoming crash. Now, I'm going to talk about 9 ways they're going to rip the American people off. Okay. They're not in any specific order. The very first thing I want you to understand is, and I highly recommend you guys fact check this. Don't just take my word for it. Fact check this. Get on YouTube, get on your agreement at the bank, take a look at it, and you'll see that number one, whenever you deposit your money into any of these banks out there, that money is no more your money. In reality, you become what's called unsecured creditor. So you become a creditor, and worst case, you don't even have it secured. Just kind of like a credit card, it's unsecured versus a house mortgage where you have a security that you pledge. So one thing you have to understand, and the American public has to understand, that the banks have no love for you. They use the middle class. They use everyone. They're like viruses. They're like, you know, they suck the human blood by not providing any value. Okay. Now, point number one is the money that you deposit into banking is not your money. You're worse than a creditor because you have an unsecured liability to the bank. So when they go bust, guess what? They don't owe you anything besides some bad stocks and a belly up corporation. Now, point number two is many people don't understand how our monetary system works here, okay? Or in Canada or in Australia or any of these countries that subscribe to the same pharmaceutical pill that we do, which is called debt-based economy. Which what does that mean? It means that the bankers they print out the money. Federal Reserve print out the money out of thin air. It's not by anything like gold, natural resources, oil, anything like that. It's not backed by anything. So in return, they print this money out, and most people in America are exchanging their life energy, their life. They're not spending time with their kids. They're not doing stuff they love to do or like to do. Majority of people are having a job not because they really want to do what they want to do, but they have to do it. Okay. While the average person is trading their life energy, doing something they don't want to do for some paper, the banks are printing the sucker up. Okay. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, the banks are even taking riskier gambles to get a higher return on your money. Okay. So that's another point. Okay. So, but before I go to the next point, why does the bank take risk with your savings, with the money you lock up in your CDs or whatever you may have it? Well, they want to make more money. They want to make more money. And some of the ways that they're taking riskier moves is derivatives, again, derivatives into bad loans. People say, well, Mike, what bad loans? They forget 2006 fourth quarter, right? Prime lending. Well, the same thing is happening today. They just don't call it subprime lending anymore. They have different names for it. Okay, you can Google right now that FHA, for example, you can buy a house with no money down. There's many different ways that banks are willing to lend with you without even having financial paperwork to show that you're making any money. Okay, So these bankers are risking your money, my money, the American people money, into risky derivatives, into risky stocks in the market, into lending out bad loans to any Bob and Joe. Now, and here's the craziest thing: the banks use something called fractional reserve lending, which means that whatever money they lend out is, first of all, it's not their money; it's your money they're lending out. They're lending out your money, my money, everyone's money. They're lending it out, and they're using something called fractional reserve lending, which means that for every dollar you put into checking account, savings account, etc., the bank can now lend minimum 10 times that amount. So if you put $10,000 in there, they can lend out $100,000 per person. Okay, so they just print out this money originally, and then they're also creating money by lending out new loans on money that they don't have, that is your money and my money in our banking account. Okay, and then for them to accelerate their profits, they're even lending out your money and my money to people that should even qualify for a loan in the first place. And then the whole funny thing is, the whole loan that they're going to give you is all fake money that they created through a printing press that everyone works for. Okay, now that brings me to the next point, because I'm trying to bring the foundation. In my opinion, in this next crash, it's going to be a global crash. You can see it right now. There's so many countries around the world in trouble. Canada, I just brought it to you. Chase Bank, they just erased all the credit card debt in Canada. People are so in debt, right? The economy's so bad there. Now, that's called a short sale, right? Or debt forgiveness in a sense. But we have Australia, we have Italy, we have Greece, we have Great Britain. I mean, we have so many, America, we have so many countries that economy's doing so horrible. Now, if you listen to the average TV show, average newspaper, they're not singing that song. They're telling you we have the world's strongest economy, blah 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 blah. But they forget to tell you the part that it's all fake. Like, it's all debt based. Like, people can't afford it and they're getting into debt. Local and federal governments are spending more money than they bring in, right? Corporations are walking around zombies because they're not profitable. And the reason the stock market is going up is because they're buying back their own stocks. I mean, doesn't that sound like manipulation? I mean, think about it. If you're buying stocks and you think the price is going up, the only reason it's going up is because the owners of the stocks are buying their own stocks to boost it up. Damn, dude. I mean, that sounds like the biggest scam ever, in my opinion, right? Now, in this 2019 economic crash, I believe the banks are going to reach in their dirty hands into your freaking money, your life energy, and suck it up without your permission. And it's called the bail in. And they've already tried this in other countries, just like they're trying right now, negative mortgage rates in one country that I brought to you just a couple of weeks ago, Denmark, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just go watch my archive. They're doing negative mortgage rates. What they're willing to give you, if you're willing to get a loan, the bank's going to give you money. Well, I talked about that. Who's going to pay for that? Well, the people that have money in their checkings, the people that have money into their savings, those guys are going to pay for it, which is actually the people going to pay for that new debt creation so the bank can make more money. Okay, because they make a lot of money in loan generations, 2, 3%, 4%. You buying a $500,000 home, they're making a big chunk of money to generate leads. Loan gen, that doesn't even include the amortization, the interest they're going to get paid down the line. So the other point is, you got to realize that banks are not ethical. They're not ethical people. They're not ethical corporations. Now, people say, Mike, man, you're always messing with bankers. Please verify, check fact this in Google. I mean, for example, there's banks that been caught creating checking accounts, banking accounts under customers' names without their consent. Wells Fargo, there's banks that been busted, paid penalties for manipulating the precious metal market. Please Google it, right? There's been bankers that foreclosed on thousands and millions of Americans all over America in the last crash when they didn't even have the paperwork. It was called robo signing. They didn't even have the note to show that they owned this debt, but they were kicking out families. Okay. And I can tell you this by dealing with hundreds of motivated sellers over the years since 2016 when the crash started back then, and meeting all kinds of people of low education, all the way people from high education, from attorneys to doctors, all the way to from street cleaners, city workers, teachers, whatever. I can tell you, everyone that was losing their home, they never thought the bankers did them right. And whenever you're buying, you think they're doing you a favor, right? You go to a bank, they're going to give you some money to buy a mortgage, whatever. You think they're doing you a favor. You're begging, can I please? In reality, you're doing them a favor because they could never exist. They make their money by getting you into debt. They could never make money because they don't have their own money. They don't have their own money. They have your money that they lend out and make millions and millions and trillions of dollars through other people's money. But they want everyone else to go work for their money, right? So in this crash, in my opinion, the bankers are going to rob the middle class. They're going to rob the working class, and then we're going to have to bail them out, which people are going to object. And what's going to happen is more than likely they're going to bail in, take everyone's savings, take everyone's CDs, whatever money they have in there to pay for themselves because they're too big to fail. Okay. The other thing you got to realize is because they're too big to fail, they could do whatever they want to you because you and I are just a little glimpse. We're going against the biggest companies in the industry in the world. We're going against people that have so much money that they buy the government through lobbyists. They have the laws in favor to them. Let me give you an example. The founding forefathers of America, they didn't want central bankers. That's why they put it in the Constitution. But guess what? A few years later, the bankers changed it through amending the Constitution to allow them to create the Federal Reserve for them to be the printer of money for us, which now has made American people the slaves to the bankers. Not only in America, in Canada, in Italy, in France, in Great Britain, every country is massively in debt to IMF, the central bankers, etc. So this is nothing new, and they're gonna really give it to the people real good, right? Real good. Like 2006 was nothing. They're gonna just give it to them, and to the people have enough. And they're like, you know what, man, I'm tired of this shit right here. We don't need these middlemen that don't have their own money. They use our money. They make money off our money. They risk our money on bad loan and bad stocks and derivatives, and and they're just getting off crazy. The CEOs, top managements, they're making money like crazy while robbing from the average uh, people that use banks. I don't believe in banks. Banks are horrible. Um, and the reason is they're so smart. Wall Street is so smart. They have all these clever ways to skim you out. One great example is amortization. When you buy a house, the way it has amortized in a 30-year mortgage is uh, with, let's say, 6 or 7% interest. If you buy a home that's $100,000, and by the time you pay it off, some people think you're just paying 100 or 200. No, you're paying 300 and almost $87,000, somewhere around there, over $300,000 by the time your loan retires in 30 years with 6 or 7% interest. So you borrowed 100, By the time you pay it off, you're paying them almost 4 times that. That's 400 times, guys. And you thought you got a 6 or 7% interest mortgage. See, this is the schemes and scams that the bankers do for them to cash out. They already know. They have all the money, all the statistics. They already know that the average person in America will buy a new house every 7 years. So up to the 7 years, they're getting all their principal, I mean, not the principal, all their interest upfront from you because they already know the statistics. So that's why I said banks are never ethical, they're never fair because it's like going against the biggest man with this one person, right? I mean, yeah, you could sue banks, yeah, but they have it's going to take you so much time and energy and and they have the lobbyists. They have the government in their control. That's why the banking industry is so powerful, and there's so little laws and regulations about them. Right. That's why Wall Street corporations that make significant money can just buy back their stocks. I mean, they get to manipulate their stock prices to make the average retail investor think, man, this stock's going up. Let me get into it. I don't know what manipulation is if you don't think that's manipulation, right? Uh, if you don't think fractional reserve is manipulation, if you don't think these guys don't have their own money, that you're using your money, making interest on it, 22% interest on credit card, 28%, while they're giving you not even 1% in interest. And the worst case scenario, you don't even own your money. You're just an unsecured creditor. And in this crash, it's going to be ugly, and people will going to want to bail these people out, or they're going to take their money. And either way, we as American people are paying for it one way or another. They say, "Look, we'll take it from you, or we just take it from behind you. Which one do you want?" Right? One is we tell you we're going to bail in and take your money. The other one is say, "Hey, we tax bail out. Well, you'll forget about it in a year or two." Right? And so that's where we stand. Um, and I hope in this upcoming crash, people start to wake up and they get away from bankers. They look for other alternatives. Uh, I can't give you advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to do that. All I'm trying to do is spark an idea for you to go out there and do your own homework and come to your own conclusions. Okay, that's all I'm trying to do is for you to be able to be a self thinker, and that's it. Okay, for me, I don't like bankers. I'm down for Bitcoin because Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are gonna bankrupt the bankers, and they already know it. It's gonna bankrupt Visa. It's gonna bankrupt Wells Fargo. It's gonna bankrupt Bank of America. Retail banking is gonna be history. All these middleman and middle corporations that just constantly having their dirty paws on your money are gonna be wiped out through blockchain and Bitcoin. And that's why I'm a fan of Bitcoin versus, going to a bank. I mean, golly, to set up a banking account takes hours and hours and hours. You got to go there, wait in line, talk to man. I mean, it's like Jesus. You can set up a wallet and be your own fucking bank. Freaking amazing, dude. You don't have to ask permission from no one. Right? No one. Hey, you know what I mean? And with freedom comes responsibility. But freedom, you can't have freedom without responsibility, right? And I'd rather be responsible for my own freedom versus entrusting some stinky third person, a banker, that I know throughout history has been dishonest. I know throughout histories they've been robbing people. I know throughout histories they've been printing fake money. And throughout histories they've been just doing all kinds of nasty stuff to steal your money, my money, everyone's money, right? And you can hear sad stories all over the internet how bankers just kill people on credit card debt or kill people on all these crazy reverse mortgages or adjustable mortgages, things that people didn't even understand. Okay, guys, if you like this video, click the like button. Let's get this message out to everyone. And before I forget, if you're interested in flipping houses and not talking to banks, okay, getting the money or the loan from the home seller direct, then what you need to do is join my profit sharing coaching. We meet every Saturday. I work direct with you. We have a private forum. You can meet my other students, and I show you how to find deals for free without spending any money in marketing. And then two, I show you how to structure deals, how to negotiate these deals in your own city, in your own backyard, where the seller, where you sweeten their tea, where they're willing to be your bank. Now, if they have a loan, no problem. If they don't have a loan, even better, no problem. But I'll show you how to sweeten the tea so you create a win-win situation where the seller is willing to be your bank versus you have to go to a bank and say, can I please get my ninth rental property? Can I please get some money so I can do this flip? Can I please get some money so I can be my dreams? Can I please, right? Now, this strategy that I'm showing will take hard work. It's not as easy as going to a bank and sticking your freaking hand out and letting the bank give you some free money that they're going to enslave you with. It's not like that. You got to actually work, right? But all the work is done through the computer and your phone. I'll show you how to do it all every Saturday from 10 to 11. I answer all your questions. And like I said, we have a private forum where you can interact with me and my students at profit sharing. If you're interested, go to mrnofluff.com. How much is it? Only $119 a month. Now, that's not expensive, but it's not for everyone, guys. Thanks for watching and liking the video. Click the like button. Let me know what state you're from, and let me know if you think the crash is coming in 2019 or soon. Peace.